You're now watching Sports Bettor's Paradise on the Bet Rivers Network.
All right, Jimmy, Ott and Paul Stone looking at the Michigan picks this week. 4 games for you. Start with midweek match. We were 2-0 on the Michigan games last week. 10-2-1 overall. Let's keep the winning ways going. Western Michigan hosting Central Michigan. Western Michigan 7.5, 55.5 at Bet Rivers. Western Michigan 5-5 overall, 4-2 in the MAC. Central Michigan just 1-5 in the MAC, 3-7 overall. Chippewas have lost 5 straight. They've only scored 30 points total in their last 3 games. I just don't know how they're going to keep up scoring with Western Michigan, who averages 31 a game overall. In their last 5 MAC games, 37 a game. A lot more firepower here for Western Michigan. I like them minus 7.5, Paul.
Yeah, I like Western Michigan as well, minus the 7.5, Jimmy. Many of the same reasons you just pointed to. I think Western Michigan is going to be able to run the football. They have a very talented running back, one of the best in the MAC, Jaden Nixon. He has 869 total yards rushing this year, averages over 7 yards a carry. Central Michigan only ranks 102nd in yards per carry defensively. They allow right at 5 yards per carry. Nixon closing in on 1,000 yards. A few weeks ago, Miami of Ohio, they rushed for 277 yards against the Central Michigan team, average over 7 yards a carry. I think Western's going to run the football against the Chippewas. Give me Western as well, minus 7.5.
All right, let's move on to later in the week in Eastern Michigan, 2.5, 54.5 at home against Buffalo. Buffalo 6-4 overall, 4-2 in league play. Eastern Michigan 5-5 overall, 2-4 in league play. Buffalo with that wild comeback in overtime against Ball State, fortunate to pull that one out. Eastern Michigan in 3 straight bowl games, 6 of the last 8 years they've gone to bowl games. One was a COVID year. I just think there's a little extra juice to try and get to bowl eligibility again. We talked about their lighter schedule earlier; it would ramp up, and it's touching. But they were able to compete with Toledo pretty good, also. So I think just a little extra juice. Buffalo's already bowl eligible. I'll take Eastern Michigan at home minus 2.5.
Yeah, you're right. Eastern Michigan, obviously at 5-5, they're going to need to win one of these final 2 games to get to bowl eligibility again this year. And they either need a win at home this Wednesday against Buffalo or on the road next week at Western Michigan to gain bowl eligibility. The Eagles, though, they have lost their last 3 games. So they need to rebound from that. You know, at its best, this Buffalo team's been pretty good. They defeated Northern Illinois by a field goal in September, a couple of weeks after Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame and also beat Toledo 30-15. I'll be on the sideline here, but I'll be rooting for those Eastern Michigan Eagles along with you there.
All right, next one, Michigan State, 12.5, 48.5 Friday night at home at East Lansing against Purdue. Purdue was such a short win total, but their schedule was brutal, and it's just been a rough ride this year for the Boilermakers. Won their first game. They've lost now 9 straight games. Michigan State has lost 3 in a row on their own. We thought it would be tough in Champaign and Illinois, and they fell behind. We're trying to play catch-up the whole game, and then it got away from them at the end as well. Michigan State, I just think that here's a team that, you know, their roster is a little bit more excited in the first year. Jonathan Smith, to get to a bowl game, to win the last 2 would mean a big deal. Purdue, I mean, it's just getting uglier and uglier, it seems, each and every week. They give up all kinds of points and yards to Penn State. I'll take Sparty at home, minus 12.5.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jimmy, Michigan State at 4-6, they're going to need victories over Purdue this Saturday and then Rutgers the following week to create bowl eligibility. They're currently favored by almost 2 touchdowns over Purdue and then project to be less than a field goal home underdog against Rutgers next weekend. So it is doable. You know, Jonathan Smith, as you indicated, he inherited a difficult situation. A lot of players left through the transfer portal, a lot of their better players, especially on defense. One of those guys, Derek Harmon, one of the mainstays for number 1 Oregon on defense, 7 tackles for loss. 3 sacks. They could certainly use him in the middle of the defense, but it would be quite the accomplishment. I think they're pumped to have that opportunity to play in the bowl. Few too many points for me to lay here, but I do see your position there on Michigan State.
All right, you like the last one here with the Wolverines. Michigan at home at the Big House, 11.5, 38.5 against Northwestern. 5-5 Michigan, Northwestern 4-6. And you look at the tail of the tape here, Paul. It's these two teams which have completely different history. They're very similar on the field this year. Michigan averages 20 points a game, Northwestern 18. Points allowed, they both average, they give up 23 points a game. Yards per game, Michigan 290, Northwestern 284. So it's really interesting how close these things have been. We talked about the Michigan quarterback situation. They've gone through all kinds of options. They tried everything. But you look for them at home here to be the stronger roster, laying the 11.5.
Yeah, I do, Jimmy. First of all, like a lot of these teams we're talking about this time of the year, they're 5-5, so they need to win one of their last two to get bowl eligible. And this is a much better proposition than traveling to Ohio State next week. So they're going to need to win this game more than likely to be bowl eligible. Talking about Michigan, being a double-digit favorite against anyone, even Northwestern, is certainly not the Wolverines' preferred point spread role. They are only 1-4 against the spread as the betting favorite this year. Much of those inadequacies due to a pedestrian offense that's, played musical chairs at quarterback and really failed to establish any type of offensive identity or continuity. So they've obviously struggled offensively. They rank 128th out of 134 teams in passing offense, only 135 points or yards rather per game through the air. So this is not a real prolific Michigan offense, but I think Northwestern is going to have trouble moving the ball against Michigan. They still play pretty good defense there at Michigan. Two similar teams that Northwestern went up against earlier this year against Wisconsin. Northwestern only 3 points, 209 yards, and 9 first downs. And then against Ohio State this past weekend, only 7 points, 251 yards, and 17 first downs, averaged less than 4 yards per offensive play in both those games. So I think, again, Northwestern's going to have trouble scoring points. I made this game slightly north of 2 touchdowns. Michigan, the favorite. It's slightly south. I'll lay the points and take the Wolverines over Northwestern on Saturday.
Earn a chance at $10,000 in bonus money with Bet Rivers prop packs. Place NBA same-game parlays to collect player card prop packs and earn rewards. You win based on how your player performs. Log into BetRivers.com or the BetRivers app to place your bet and get your pack. All right, 2-0 last weekend, the Michigan games. 10-2-1 overall. Let's do it again. For Paul Stone, I'm Jimmy Ott on the Sports Bettor's Paradise on the Bet Rivers Network.